Welcome to Skarn. This is a land that has been built up, fought over, raised and built up again numerous times across the ages. The peoples are hardy and tough, the land unforgiving and harsh, and the deities gone from this world. After the Divine War, the Divine Races and the Redeemed had a truce, but that has run up, and the shorter-lived races view the Divine War as a distant memory. Skarn is changing, and along with it, our heroes. I bid thee greetings, redeemed and divine races, Titan spawn and ancient ones. I am Patrick, known on the winds of change and beaks of birds as Patty Shakes _, and I am the game master for this story. This is session 0 of Dracogenesis, Titan's Lament, taking place in Scarred Lands, a setting published by Onyx Path Publishing. This is an awesome adventure brought to you by Vorpal Tales. You can find Vorpal Tales on lots of places on the internet. Of course, we are on Twitch right here, right now. Consider please giving us a follow or subscribe. Check out Twitter, where we tweet daily at Vorpal Tales. A Facebook and Instagram, where you get great pictures of all our cast and GMs outside of the tabletop. A website, vorpaltales.com, where you can get all the latest news about everything we are up to and see our up-to-date calendars. A Patreon, where if you feel so inclined, you can toss a coin to us in order to make more, better, and Vorpal-tailier content. Finally, a Discord, where you can come hang out with us awesome humans and discuss all kinds of topics or play video games with us. I would like to thank Onyx Path Publishing for making an incredible world and setting to use to amaze and delight. Also, that sounds weird when you just kind of say it in this grandiose voice. Also, to Astral Tabletop for being our virtual tabletop and platform for our players to roll their dice and view the Titan spawn that seek their demise. Additionally, to N8 Mid for the fantastic character sheet he has created for this game. A thank you goes to Vinsvet, a wonderful YouTube channel that has amazing music to set your adventure to. My newest shout out goes to Love Your Rebellion, a non-profit group that empowers marginalized groups through the arts. Please be sure to check out the website, loveyourrebellion.org. And now, dear viewers, meet our intrepid adventurers who look to adventure and bring their influence unto the world of Skarn. Please state your name, where people can find you on the internet, and that's it for now, as we will expand upon who you'll be playing later.
So short tonight. But I am Dwayne. You guys can find me on the internet at Made of Kimchi. And that's all.
Hey everybody, I'm Ever, my pronouns are they, them, and tonight I will be creating a character.
And I am Tyler, Eldritch Echoes Online.
Hi, I'm Tiffany, also known as Pinky, and you can find me at Twitter at Pinky_88.
Hello everybody, I am Steve. You can find me on the internet at Voodoo Arcade, pretty much everywhere.
And I am Devin. You can find me online at Sorta Solid.
Fantastic. Thank you, adventurers. Now, before we forget ourselves and escape for a little while into a realm of sword and sorcery, here in the world today, many people are struggling with very real matters and combating their own monsters. January is a month that brings awareness to many important things, including cervical cancer awareness, regular screenings, and getting the HPV vaccine can greatly mitigate your risk. Birth defect prevention, taking folic acid, prenatal vitamins, and living a healthy lifestyle along with regular doctor's appointments can prevent many defects. The very important Black Lives Matter movement is also still going on. This is the most important period in time we are living in, and we ask that you educate yourselves on topics you may be ignorant to, and work with your fellow humans to better the world. Remember, seize the time. Live now. Make now always the most precious time. Now will never come again. Alrighty. I'm going to give everyone a little bit of backstory on the world of Skarn and Scarred Lands. I know some of you who are regular followers of Vorpal Tales have seen us play several shorter games into this world, but since we're going to be doing a long campaign, it's going to be very important that you understand just a little bit of the world of Skarn and what has shaped the events and the history that has led to current events and where our adventures will be starting in the world. So, be prepared to go on an adventure of history of the world of Scar. The world is not what it once was. Broken and battered, it was mauled in a great conflict that raged across its surface for years. The Titans, primal beings, forces of nature that created and shaped Scar, warred with their children, the gods, who had learned to draw power from the faith of lowly mortals wandering the face of Scar. They clashed across the world, amassing armies, using the creatures they created or who worshipped them. On one side were the Titan spawn, twisted monsters and foul creatures loyal to the Titans. And the other, the divine races, the mortals, banded together to aid the gods. Over time, the gods were successful and the Titans subdued, but never destroyed. The gods are the sole rulers of Skarn now, fueled by the devout worship of their mortal followers. Yet though the war is over, the damage remains, and it is for this reason that Skarn is now known as the Scarred Lands. That great conflict, known as both the Divine War and the Titans War, depending on who you ask, has been over for a century and a half, but the healing process has only just begun. Much of Skarn's topography has been twisted and warped in unnatural ways, and the Titans, though dormant, are not dead. Yet, hope remains for the mortal races of the world. Skarn, the world, is broken into several large continents. To start off with, our adventurers will be on the continent of Gelspod. Though it is not the largest, Gelspod is the most populous continent of Skarn. Because of its dense population, this continent bore the brunt of the Titans' attacks on the armies of the gods. Much of its landscape shifted during the Divine War. Verdant savannas were smashed into desolate wastelands, and magnificent forests shriveled to lonely stands of blighted trees. Large portions of the land still crawl with Titan spawn and other dangerous creatures that the divine races struggle to comprehend, let alone face. The nations of Gelspod have spent the last century and a half rebuilding, and in some cases, building new societies from scratch. Though a tentative peace among the nations existed for decades following the Titans' War, this armistice eventually eroded. The continent today is largely in turmoil. In recent decades, King Verduk, called the Black Dragon, has sent his armies on a mission of conquest into nearby nations and has amassed a mighty empire known as the Calastian hegemony. So that's just a little bit about the specific continent of the world of Skarn our adventurers will be starting on. There are many other continents our adventurers could go to should their adventure lead them there, or maybe personal quests or reasons might guide them. There is a large pantheon of gods that currently exists that came together to make sure to destroy the Titans. When we're building our characters, some of our characters will go into a little bit about their god and why they worship them and what they're gods of. It is important to know, though, that the Titans came first. They created the gods, and the main difference was Titans were beings of power from nature and the world itself, whereas gods get their power from their devout followers. Without worshippers and mortals, gods would have no power. And just a little bit more history before we get into our meeting our characters and our players and what they have cooked up for us for our amazing adventure. Here's a little bit more history of Skarn since the Divine War. Much has happened in the century and a half since the Divine War. Initially, for the first time in many centuries, the nations of Gelspod were at peace with one another. Their lands were in tatters, yes, but no empire threatened, and for a while at least, no petty power struggles erupted. In fact, many former rivals banded together to fight the Titans in their spawn. These new allies were now left to sort out their future together. This was a strange new situation for many of Gelspod's nations. Other challenges arose in the aftermath of the Divine War, such as the radical alterations Gelspod underwent during the war. The Eastern Sea turned a deep blood red due to Kadam's ichor oozing throughout its currents. There is a literal titan with open, weeping wounds that is chained to a rock that is at the bottom of the sea, which has caused this sea to turn blood red, not just as the color, it is actual blood.
That's so freaking rad.
Similarly, the Moan Scar Mountains rose during the war, a result of Kadam's tail striking the ground. Just a body part of a titan touching this world caused a mountain range to form. This is the scale of the Titans' War and the scale of changes this continent has undergone. The formerly lush grasses of Marseilles were tainted and twisted into the bleak savanna. And the former capital of the Lydian Empire, the great city of Arumar, was swallowed up in a wasteland of rents, holes, and crevices that have since become known as the Perforated Plains. In addition to the changes in the landscape, the shattered Titan spawn armies still roamed the land. Their ranks were broken, sure, but the Titans' most loyal servants, the war was not over. The more monstrous of their ilk receded into the blighted wastelands, nursing their wounds. Many of the sapient humanoids among them, most notably the Asathi, Orcs, and Manticora, were forced to surrender. What else could they do but to seek shelter with the so-called divine races? Despite these challenges, the New World was also a place of great opportunity. Led by their new divine rulers, the nations and people of Gelspad were forced to begin a new era. And no being on Skarn, perhaps not even the gods themselves, can ascertain what the future might hold for the denizens of Gelspad. Okay. So I know all of you have done some of this reading on your own. Even more so. So our players are going to have a little bit more intimate knowledge of the history, the political kind of climate, as well as the interaction and play among the pantheon of gods and the play of the divine races versus redeemed races, which are the ones we just kind of listed there: the Manticora, the Asathi, and the Orcs that came back into the fold after the Divine War was over. I will reveal slowly more of this history, and it'll play a part in interactions our adventurers might have as they come across different parties and locations throughout Gelspad and Skarn as a whole. But for you as the viewer, this is the base knowledge that you'll need so you can understand the initial ties and connections our party will have to one another and why they might react a certain way to challenges they face. So we'll go around real quick, and I believe each person already has we haven't built our characters yet, but everyone has a brief kind of concept of what they're looking to do with their character and shape them into a workable class and race. So we'll go around, and our players once again give their names and a brief description of the character they're going to be creating tonight.
Do we have an order for this?
Just same order you did this.
Same order. So I, Dwayne, will be creating a character. How are we going to do this? So the basis for my character is, I'm not going to tell you what class or what type of, what ancestry. We're not going over any of that, right? We're just doing concept?
Correct. Yeah, okay. Yeah, just a basic concept of your character.
So the basic concept of my character was wanted to break the mold for what her society saw in her and became a toy maker. However, in going out and searching for different things to make toys and whatnot, she found relics that helped imbue powers into her toys. And this turned out to be somewhat disheartening because one of these relics was cursed, and an accident occurred, forcing her to leave her home and search for a way to get rid of this curse.
Okay. Very nice.
Are we going in the order of?
Yes, please.
Okay. Cool. So, where to begin? I kind of created a very detailed thing. So.
Just very broad strokes right now.
That was the hard part.
Right. So my character is a Broadreach elf, and from deep within the Broadreach Force, which is now known as the Hornsaw Force because of all the corruption. This character is old enough to remember the war from their childhood, because elves, they live for way too long. And this character didn't quite fit in with... So a little meta here. The Broadreach elves, before Onyx Path started developing the world more, were very strict gender roles, and male and female only. When Onyx started working on Scarred Lands, they created options for male, female, non-binary, and it's really cool. So I'm kind of merging the two concepts, where my character is kind of a bridge from that old manuscript to the newer manuscript. And basically their journey is going to be a journey of discovery. They were assigned female at birth and never identified with that. Who do we know like that? But anyway. and they're going to be discovering themselves. I don't have the final gender that character is going to settle on, because I would like the viewers to go through this growth with this character of them discovering themselves. So you'll hear me referring to them as them for now, because they just don't know. And our DM Patty has full permission to like yank on those dark strings of oh, you aren't you a girl elf, blah blah blah, kind of stuff like that. So if he does pick on me for that, or my character for that, that is full disclosure allowed, because it's going to be kind of a catalyst for my character.
I like to call those daggers, as they stab and they hurt, but when you pull them out, you get a scar and you learn from it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you pull them out, you bleed to death.
No.
Okay. So yeah, that's the generic
Two
concept.
kinds of people.
Yeah. So, yeah, my character is going to leave the Broadreach. There are two clans that they're going to be involved in. The first is Fox Clan, which is deeper in the Hornsaw, and then the second is Holly Clan, which in the original manuscript they will... Oh gosh, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, Broadreach elves are matriarchal. BT dubs. And normally in the old manuscript it was very oh, you can't have a child, oh, you can't be a mother, therefore you can't hold any sway in our social environment. Holly Clan is one of the few clans that would bestow honorary motherhood to both male elves and childless female elves, and so they're kind of looked down on for that, but no one really messes with them because they are also Broadreach elves, and Broadreach elves like each other, generally speaking, except for, the tribal conflict. But anyway, yeah, it's just a little background. It's a little scrambly, but I have really good expectations for this character to go places, not literally, but figuratively. Well,
Yes.
literally too, I guess.
Yes, lots of growth and self-discovery, for sure, which are usually the best paths and the best stories.
I think that covers it, I think.
My turn then. My character goes by either he, them, or they, him. Doesn't matter. You guys decide how you want to address it. More about that later. This character is a storm wolf from the Fangs, high in the Keldar Mountains, in the most inhospitable place available in that part of the world. Corian is a god of justice, but also a god of mercy. mercy's left to the others. This character is the enforcer, the vengeance, the justice. He is hardcore. What's the word I'm looking for here, Patty? Help me out. You mentioned it. Medieval comment. Crusades era Inquisition medieval knight.
Yes.
Zealot.
Suffering is his prayer.
Crusader.
Faith is his armor. Battle is his redemption. He is the strong mailed fist of Corian. He is your justice. He is your end. Born for war, bred for war, down the line. Each different variation of the soldiers of Corian exhibit different traits. The Storm Wolves clearly will have wolfen traits. A blessing, because he will rend and tear and rip so that any who may try to rise up against Corian again will see the results and flee in terror instead, but also chance of losing control, which can lead to very dire consequences. That's me in a nutshell in a summary.
Perfect.
Okay. Hi. All right. So my character concept is a warrior that's been exiled from their home due to a big tragic mistake that occurred, which not going to disclose what it was till I'm sure it'll eventually be popped out, as the game goes on. But my character is currently seeking out ways to redeem themselves, looking for that special something that'll be good enough that'll allow them to be worthy to return home. They're pretty much kind of like exiled to the point of like if they try to come back, it's on penalty of death, sort of thing. So they're wanting to explore the world, explore everything, explore themselves, to find something to allow them to, return home, because home is everything. To my character, it comes from a long line of like those that are very like honor bound, so it's kind of like a huge thing for them. And hopefully, things will work out well. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. That's the whole point of, self-discovery and finding things that are worthy, because it's not only worth, but an inner worth. I'm just really hoping that we'll... Sorry, I'm not like as awesome as Ever and Tyler with their thing. Just kind of wanting to grow my character as the game grows,
Absolutely. Characters are not meant to be compared to one another. Each one has their own individual journey to go on.
Mm-hmm.
And a journey of self-discovery and redemption just as important as one that is viewed by the goer as righteous and holy.
Me? Or
I think so.
You're good, Tiffany? Okay. So, hi everybody again, I'm Steve, at Voodoo Arcade, if we're doing that part still again. My character is, we're not doing that part. So he is a former soldier, who's taking place in one of the wars that are happening on the continent of Gelspod right now, who has, let's see, grown slightly jaded or disillusioned to certain things happening in his society, which has led him down a bit of a revolutionary path. And as we explain and get into more of what specific society he comes from, that brings with it some very lofty ideas. And we're going to see how his bucking of those concepts leads him down a path that he might not be able to live up to. So basically, yeah, soldier, revolting, and yeah.
All right.
And my character is, in essence, an old man who has grown tired of death around him. of those who he cares about and considers comrades. And is basically trying to turn away from that in a world full of it.
Fantastic. Yes, that is definitely a concern and something someone could very easily become fed up with in the world of Skarn, especially if you're an older person. You would have more experience with more wars, and it seems to be all the turmoil in this land. Okay, so everyone has their little character. We're going to go through character creation now. Everyone, we all have a sheet we're going to work off of some detailed, poignant questions that really we feel help shape and mold a character into being more than just the filling in of blanks on a page, but really give it a soul, so to speak. So it's always going to be important to answer the whys as opposed to just the what, who, when, or wheres. So everyone kind of has, just through the character summaries you did right there, everyone seems to have a life path that they have chosen for themselves. Let's just go around and why does your character need to go on that path? Why why do you need to go on that life path, and what do you need to go on that path and complete that path?
Well, for mine, as I said, my character she was trying to break the mold. My character is going to be an Asathi, and they're always seen as, mystics or sorcerers, or they were part of the fallen.
Mm-hmm.
So she is not only trying to make others in the world of Skarn see her in a different light, but she wants the Asathi to see her in a different light as well. So taking up something that is outside of the norm sparked her interest. She was like, hey, I could be a toy maker. I can help people. And starting her, she started everything in Fang's Fall. And just outside of Fang's Fall, you have that large stretch of swamp that connects Fang's Fall to the Lost City. And going out there and looking for relics, just like any Asathi would, looking for pieces of the old world, and finding these little pieces and imbuing them into her toys and making them lifelike. It made her feel good, but something happened that one of these toys ended up injuring, or maybe even killing someone that was not meant for. So the whole path of hers is to, she's almost on the run initially, like to get away from, oh no, everyone thinks I did it on purpose. Everyone's going to look at my background and say, oh, well, of course she did it. She's a Asathi. That's what they do. So initially it's going to be an on the run kind of thing, but then it's going to be how did this happen, and how can I make this not happen to anyone else kind of story.
So it's going to be bucking not just the worldview of Asathi, but the way Asathi view themselves, and perhaps trying to change the entire culture, as well as a little bit of redemption to make up for the stumble you had along the way of breaking that mold. Perhaps there will be more setbacks and more missteps on your way to breaking these molds, but it'll be about seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, and making sure that these missteps don't ever dissuade you or stop you from continuing.
Right, and to not only to prove to myself, but to, like you said, to prove to others that, although we have made mistakes in our past, and I personally have made mistakes in my past, I can be seen and do better.
Yes. the Fallen made a mistake 150 years ago, but the term for races that came back from fighting for the Titans is called the Redeemed, and we are redeemed for a reason.
Well put.
Perfect.
Okay, so the situation was basically why, right?
Yeah, so why are you walking your path? Why do you need to walk this path? Why are you going on a journey of change? And even so much like why are you where you are in your life? What has shaped, what has molded you? What happened to your character that we're not going to see and act out as players, but has affected your character and shaped them to where they are now?
Well, it might eventually actually be seen. It's just
Sure,
a
but
little more.
what has happened up to now might not be seen. So, but how someone if you ever go near the Hornsaw again or interact with anybody from the clan again, why might they react to you a certain way, or question the choices you've made, or things like that.
So, where to begin with that? Because it's kind of complicated. The deity that the the Titan that the Broadreach elves worship is Denev, the Earth Titan. She's basically sacred motherhood, and
Yeah, and just real quick to interpose there, that does not mean Ever's character is evil because their people worship a Titan. Denev is viewed as, think literally Mother Earth to people in the real world. Denev was viewed as kind of a neutral party that might
she
have
helped
even
the gods.
Yeah, she even supported the gods. So worship of her is viewed mostly neutral, and then a necessary evil at worst.
It depends on who you're talking to, but the Broadreach elves,
Right.
She's pretty special to them. Her opposite, who corrupted the Broadreach forest, Mormo, is considered. Well, I wrote it down somewhere, but like the opposite of sacred motherhood, where it's like.
Mormo actually birthed most of the gods. That Titan was involved in most of the births of the gods. She just kind of is very known. Anything snake based, any Titan spawn or the Asahi are just considered descendants of Mormo. She very much was just I make a race, because you have to remember, in the hundreds and hundreds of years of the Titans existing, thousands of years of Titans existing, they created and destroyed numerous races for their pleasure and for their experimentation. And she had a big hand in that. So she is very much viewed as just creating something for her to then use as she sees fit. So kind of, as Ever was saying, the opposite of Denev, where things have purpose or built or created for a reason or to have independence or freedom. Mormo would make things personally as her playthings.
Yeah. So like basically the yin and yang sort of motherhood. And not supposedly, but according to the lore, Mormo's heart is buried in the Broadreach forest, which is now the Hornsaw forest. And so it curses a lot of things. It even a little bit cursed the Broadreach elves, which I did not read the details in. I did not find the details in that actually. But my character is striking out. Basically, had never left the Broadreach forest before our characters met each other, but then they met, and my character traveled with everyone else. Wondering if why they don't fit into their culture of sacred motherhood. They feel that maybe they've been corrupted by Mormo somehow. So the goal is to remove this curse, but it's not a curse. I'm hoping that through playing this, my character will realize, oh, it's not a curse. This is me. And then there's a whole nother existential crisis right there of, oh my God, what's wrong with me? And then finding out, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just me. So it's that search for authenticity, but not blatantly stated. They just want to make themselves normal, quotation marks, and they're striking out to find that because no one has an answer in the Broadreach Forest. They're like, oh, you can be an honorary mother. No, that's not what I want. So what they want to do is remove that curse, go back home, and fit in with everyone else. But because this is an awesome story, that's not going to happen. They're going to find out who they really are. It's the why is a crisis of faith, a crisis of identity, and learning that it's okay to be yourself.
Different is awesome, and we should celebrate it.
Hear, hear. Huzzah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay. So your question was pretty broad. I'm not going to go back all the way to the beginning, but I'll go back far enough to answer most of it. The monastery this character comes from, the warriors are specifically bred for the job they do with the genetic traits they have down generations with a little bit of magic mixed in. They're born into the life, and much like a Spartan, they begin fighting from old enough to coordinate their balance. You have to undergo a test to actually begin your saga. Your saga is the story of your life and the glory you have brought to Corian and the people you've helped along the way. And that by itself will almost kill you just to become a man at the whopping age of 12. We can talk more about that later when it comes up. After that, your genetic changes kick in. Again, we'll get to that later. And you manifest your blessing with Corian. In my particular case, I was the son of a wolf lord, which is like a, like a general, sergeant, whatever you want to call it, of the Thunderwolves pack. So much was expected of me, but this character met every challenge that was handed to him. Because of the accolades he earned in his prowess in battle, he or they was given the honor of being able to go out into the world and form his own pack for the glory of Corian and find his saga out there and follow the will of the god. One of the few who's allowed to actually leave and is not as part of a unit or on a specific mission. And eventually perhaps find others to bring to our cause that we can use to bring their children into the genetic stock of one of the warrior monasteries. His duty is to fight for Corian and to protect the innocent, and one day to die for Corian. His duty is all. So when it comes to why am I doing what I'm doing, there is nothing else. This is my purpose for existence. His faith is absolute. He does not know fear when it comes to fear of dying or fear of being hurt. His only fear is failing his god. That probably answers that pretty succinctly.
Yes. But just like any child soldier, the lack of a childhood, the scars of not being able to process emotions or situations correctly because of knowing only one purpose, one reason, that'll be interesting development when we see how your character might react to those kinds of things.
It's actually not necessarily true because the Thunderwolves are paladins of Corian, as it were, even though I'm a huge multi-class. Into that later. But they also believe in a thorough education. I was brought up basically like a Catholic school kid in the medieval Greek sense for Scarred Lands. Like, very well-rounded with just a lot of knuckle rapping. Or in our case, probably actually getting kicked. But we spend our downtime as hard as we spend our fighting. So like, my character will sing sagas to you while he gets drunk off his ass and falls under the table in the bar. Think of somewhere between a paladin and a Norse warrior, and that's what a Thunderwolf is. The children of Fenris, but we fight for Corrigan.
Very nice.
I love as strongly as I kill.
Which is pretty strong.
Yes.
Also very terrifying.
Yes, this character is 6'11" and weighs 375 pounds. He's the size of the mountain from Game of Thrones. And that's without armor or gear.
Oh,
Very nice.
Okay. Your character is like almost 3 feet taller than me in real life. Oof.
Red warrior.
Okay, so hi. So I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier with my concept, but the reason my character is kind of like going through this whole journey, adventure thing, is because they are seeking ways to redeem themselves. They know that they can't just hang around the outskirts of their village, kind of like redemption's not going to fall in their lap. They know they have to go out and find it, and actually in the whole crux of like seeking redemption, they actually switched religions. I am wanting to do a Manticora for the race, and a lot of them still worship Vangal, who is the god of war, pretty much. Manticore are, a very aggressive breed, or race, I should say. And in seeking redemption, my character has gone to worship Madriel, who is a god of mercy. It's still kind of iffy and struggling with the whole change of religions, but that is again with the whole seeking redemption and finding themselves and finding something that if they just stay in one spot, they're not going to find. So they're running off into the world to find that.
Awesome.
Yes, and just kind of a little bit, since you touched on two of the gods there, Vangal was actually the first god made by the Titans, and therefore shares more of the traits of their parents than the other gods. And like you said, they're more of a god of violence. They don't even care so much for victory as they do just violence itself is the ripest fruit of divine labor. Whereas Madriel, as you said, is a god of mercy, but she is also a very capable warrior and would not back down from a fight. So that's kind of a good transition where you're still going to be a fighter and still looking to you're going to solve some problems of violence, but you don't revel in the violence anymore. It's you seek to redeem others and overcome others' wickedness, just as you would in yourself before striking them down.
My character is kind of like, having done all the research, whatever, Manticore are literally the children of Vangal. So it's like tearing herself away from her father, pretty much. And kind of like seeking that redemption, like I said, because a lot of them, because like Vangal's kind of like in lore has kind of like, okay, like I made you did what I wanted, shoo. He doesn't really pay attention to his kids. He's just like there. But a lot of Manticore still worship Vangal, or at least acknowledge him. And so my character is like in the whole search for redemption for herself, searching for redemption of honor and ways to still be worthy. She's kind of like, I have to seek redemption elsewhere. I can't keep looking to you, Dad. I gotta go. So it's like a whole lot of like internal struggle, and of the whole like redemption of like other people that would be a nice side effect. But my character really doesn't give a crap about anybody else but themselves. It's me, me, me. I need to find this. I have to fix this. I have to do that. So it's like, hopefully this character will be able to learn that they can't just be selfish all the time. And will learn more as they grow with their travels. But right now, it's just, I need to do this for this reason. That's it. They're kind of like single focused. I'm really, really hoping that they'll be able to learn from Madriel to be able to find redemption in others, because that'd be really nice. Not just themselves selfish, you know. They can't be selfish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back to me. Okay, so I guess we're kind of revealing our ancestries at this point. So, my character is a Drindali. So Drindali are the subterranean elves of this world. We live beneath a lot of the mountain ranges. And Drindali culture currently is kind of overseen by name. I just have a problem remembering names. Nathalos. Nathalos is considered a god king amongst the Drindali. So he rules the city of Dire Drindle, which is this once great sweeping underground city that was full of riches and was this very, very powerful hub of the world, which is now in complete decline and just a mere kind of like hollow shell of what it used to be. So Nathalos has kind of like nosedived the Drindali culture into nothing. One of the things that's happening right now with Drindali is a war with the dwarves that live near them, which is the dwarves of Baruktorn. So there's this massive war between Dire Drindle and Baruktorn. And there are older elves who don't understand why this is happening. There's been trade amongst these two cultures for a long time. They've always kind of gotten along, and then now all of a sudden it's like, no, they're the bad guys, and we got to go fight them and kill them. So that's the big sort of like geopolitical thing happening with Drindali right now. And as a sort of younger elf, probably, he would have come from the equivalent of like a middle sort of like class family with decent education, probably volunteered for military service to go out, and he actually spends some time at this war fighting the dwarves at Torn. And when he kind of gets a reprieve from that and he's able to come back, that combination of his experience actually being there with his sort of middle-class upbringing and some of the education that he had before leads him to certain groups of people who, like I mentioned before, older elves and things like that, who are adamantly against this war. So that leads him to joining up with those people and kind of denouncing the current rulership of Dire Drindle. This leads into the situation that many Drindali, or not many, several Drindali find themselves in, where they are refugees from their own home when they denounce the God King. So immediately after military service, he leaves Dire Drindle and leaves the subterranean world and actually goes to the surface. And once a Drindali is in the surface, they're in this weird sort of like place where they come from this city that was at one point in time was like one of the richest and most powerful, but they're like basically begging to be let in pretty much anywhere as refugees. Some places are more open to them than others, but even those who are accepting of them, even if there's never been hostility towards them, they kind of are like, these guys are weird, just, because there's not a lot's known about them. They don't, they don't come up in mass, so they're kind of like scattered. So just because they're so not often out there, there's just a little bit of distrust kind of built into everyone else about a Drindali. So he spends the next several years doing that. And we talked a little bit before about his thing in there, his current kind of mentality in denouncing certain things. I mentioned that Nathalos is considered a god king. So he has sort of gotten to a point where not only is he questioning the idea of his king, but the idea of his perceived living god, which I don't know how much we want to get into it right now, Patty.
We're going to talk about some long-term goals that your character would have.
Okay.
So maybe we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in your long-term goal section.
Okay, sounds good.
It's going to be very long-term, but those are some long-term goals you got.
That's some very long-term goals. I guess the only thing I will say right now is to this guy, for every Quarian, there is Chardoon, and he doesn't like that dynamic.
Okay.
So I kind of got into a bit of the why for my character in the beginning because having been this paladin of initially Quarian for so long fighting and having so many people die around him, eventually something happens where he just decides that he can't continue this way anymore because there's just been so much death around him and all the people that he's cared about, his comrades, have died. So he actually stumbled upon this because he was near Durover and found Madriel and decided that he would try and repent for all his past deeds to protect those around him. So he kind of changes what he does rather than fighting to kill, to fight to protect and only kill if need be. And it's kind of his quest is just never going to end because, after killing so many people and having so many of his friends die around him, he just feels that he can't actually fully repent, but he will spend the rest of his life trying to protect all those. Like, even if you're evil, maybe you can be saved.
Yeah, and that's absolutely one of the very core teachings of Madriel. In fact, a lot of gods look to the fact that specifically Madriel and who was the other? Madriel and Hydrata. The fact that those two gods fought against the Titans made the gods realize they were fighting a just war. Both of those gods are very much either, in Madriel's case, try to find redemption or, cure the wickedness of something before attacking. And Hydrata is very much the judge and lawgiver god. It's almost a dispassionate worldview where you just see everything in the blackest and whitest of things. And the fact that both of them accepted the gods' war meant that they were fighting a just cause. It's also going to be good that you are such a devout follower of Madriel, as that will definitely help Tiffany's character maybe find and learn the virtues and almost have a shortcut roadmap of how to find redemption and to how to be willing to forgive oneself a little bit faster. It's almost like having a therapist.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be helping her feel like she's going to be redeemed faster.
I think it's going to be a little bit of
fighting it every step of the way. Every step of the way, she'll be fighting it anyway, so it'll be fine.
I think it's going to be a little bit of you're each going to help each other a little bit and finding the things that you both lack. Okay, perfect. So that's a lot of the why and our players' background and where they come from. So we'll get into a little bit more of specific blanks on a character sheet now. So If everyone kind of wants to go through and say what your class is, your race, your background, some kind of just like particular skills that you might have, as well as the reasons why you pick those things. So we went over the why of your history and the why of your character. So let's also, when you say what you are, go over the why of why those particular races, why those particular classes, whether it's a mechanic thing that you think works well with your story, or you think it's you thought kind of in Steve's case with the elves, you know, they have an interesting ruler that allows them to kind of springboard his disdain and his jadedness. But yeah, so we're just it's nothing too specific, just your race, your class, and if you haven't picked those yet, that's totally okay. We'll kind of work on that now. So let's do that now. We'll kind of do it the same order.
Okay, so for my race, I have already said I am going to choose the Asathi. The reason that I'm picking those is, like I said in my concept, is they're almost ashamed of what they are, and I like choosing characters like that, so that already, just in picking the race, you already have a hurdle to get over.
Yeah, so it's definitely hard for them because they physically look evil. You know, in Skarn, especially with Mormo the Titan, it's very just like we as humans in the world today very much associate snakes with evil. It's a very easy logical leap. It's in a lot of symbology. It's a lot of things like that, especially people who have a Christian background. Same kind of thing for the people of Skarn. Mormo was very much, one of her titles is the Mother of Serpents. So it was very easy to associate your people with evil. So you're already in the hole for the way you look.
Yeah. My class is going to be Artificer. The reason I picked that is because, being a tinkerer of toys and trying to imbue them with magical essences, I thought that was the perfectest way to go.
I think we did initially have a work there.
Yeah, we did initially have a different idea, but it didn't meld very well. So
perfect. Yeah, just so the audience knows, we will be starting at level 2. So some of our players might have plans to multi-class, and they'll touch on it in this part right here, where we decide on what we tell you a race or class and want to pick those things. But you might not see that multi-class for a little while, depending on how they envision their character growing.
Yeah, I haven't decided on a multi-class yet. It may happen. I mean,
yeah, and we can always make something that happens story-wise turn into a multi-class, or something that happens story-wise maybe as a feat that's gained or something like that. So don't be afraid to let your character evolve to a situation, and if it's a particularly good evolution, you might get rewarded for it.
And then my background, I wanted to try and stick to the Scarred Lands backgrounds because I do like those a little bit better. They give a little bit more choices. But having the Tinkerer's tools going with the guild artisan background, straight up 5e, would be helpful and fit the background. So I'm still working with that.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And what you can actually do if you do choose guild artisan, then the story could be, you were part of, whatever established guild already is within within your people. But then we're like, I have these skills, but it's just to, do public works or things like that. I want to better living situation. I want to bring smiles to people's faces. So let me use these skills I have in tinkering or stone or whatever it is to make those smiles. Literally make smiles. Okay, perfect.
Is that it?
So, race as mentioned before, Broadreach Elf, or heritages. I like that term. That's fun. And then my... Oh, That would be. I'm on the wrong sheet. On the wrong page. My character is primarily a ranger, but they also will be doubling in rogue. So that'll be a level 2 in ranger, level 1 in rogue. And their background, you said, was like how they utilize their skills, right?
Yeah, so that's actually one of like the mechanical things in building a player character in 5th edition is you select a background. So if you don't really have one in mind, we can absolutely work to... Oh, okay, perfect.
And actually that's how they first make money when they leave the Broadreach, and then that's how they make money for the group as we travel. They are a trapper/furrier, so basically trapping, hunting, and of course being that they are from the forest and they have that clan culture, they will use every part of the animal and sell every part, what we don't need. And the fur, of course, brings in the most money, but they should be able to benefit the group in that way.
Perfect. So is that a Scarred Lands background, the trapper furrier?
I remember reading something about trapper, but I don't remember where, and I don't remember if it came from with any perks. Because I remember Tyler and I had discussed it, but I need to go back and find it again.
The background is called Forester, which is actually the regional background for the Scarred Lands.
Scarred Lands, yeah.
We did not pick the other half of the background. We thought you and never could pick that live, but the Forester part we chose for the regional.
Okay.
And then they would also need what's the other half called?
Social.
Yes, that's the difference for Scarred Lands, is that you technically have 2 backgrounds. You have a social and a regional one. So a background afforded to you by living in an area, and the background afforded to you by kind of your upbringing and life choices.
That's cool.
Yes. So some social. Let's look at the social ones in the main book here.
Starts on page 97.
97.
Yes.
I have the page open. Do you just want me to start saying some of them?
I was kind of trying to find some ones that would maybe fit Ever's character. So
Okay.
Drifter, maybe kind of you felt, because I'm not sure how much in society you felt growing up and living, but you could kind of Drifter is kind of described as like you went from place to place, but we could adapt that to be more of you were a drifter within your own society, where you kind of didn't really stay in one household too long. You kind of went from friend's couch to friend's couch, or even ended up camping out in the woods by yourself, like kind of on the edge of like your village or your clan.
That would make a lot of sense if they were uncomfortable around their assigned
Yeah,
member.
I don't know how much of a loner you want your character to have been. I don't know if you want your character to have been if they had a family, whether it was your biological mother, father, or if it was just a group of people you felt comfortable living with that you live with, or if your character's more of like you live with somebody until they're like, okay, you really need to kind of get going.
That makes a lot of sense. And actually, in the clans for Broadreach, the lore is that no one parent claims a child; the whole clan does. So, even if you're birthed to a specific parent, all the clan is your parents. Are your parents?
Whatever the correct grammatical way. We said it both ways, so we're covered.
I've heard it both ways. Too many psych reruns.
Not enough.
Valid. So yeah, Drifter sounds pretty good. Is there any other that you might consider?
The other one that you could play off of is Street Rat. Also, kind of the same idea. That would mean more of like you didn't have any family, and that doesn't really work. It's with kind of how the clans operate.
I like Drifter. I think I'll stick with that.
All right, cool. So you from both backgrounds, you get a little bit. You get a skill or proficiency or some equipment, whatever. So you just make sure you get both. You get the stuff from both.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, and then so just kind of why are you picking Ranger and Rogue? Just kind of touch on why those classes kind of spoke to you.
So Rogue was a little shallow at first, just because sneaky stuff is cool.
Sure.
If I'm full disclosure.
Hey, the reasons for designing a player character the way they are many and varied. So shallow, I think they have a cool ability, is an acceptable answer to why.
That's
Also,
true.
since I had some help with building this, I'll interject. Part of it too was the goal here is to be the ultimate forest ninja, the greatest range stabby hunter / tracker, and all the massive pile of rogue skills, plus the ability to do expertise and stealth, helps with that. Like, this rogue is not doing trap finding. The expertise is only in woodsy stuff. So yeah, it's tailored to the idea.
Plus, coming back as the ultimate woodsy rogue ranger will get you lots of clout for if you ever wanted to confront your clan and say, hey, you should do things differently.
True, and honestly, so Ranger made a lot of sense for living in the Broadreach Forest. When we were talking about adding Rogue, that was the perfect fit for the Fox clan because they're known as the ultimate ambush hunters, or not ambush, but like sneaky hunters. Basically, they their prey is dead before initiative starts. That's what Fox Clan is known for. So that just was serendipitous, and yeah, that was the primary idea behind that. So
perfect.
Behind
Awesome.
Fox Clan, I mean. So.
And I would point out for the party's knowledge, when the rest of you get to building your characters, this is not a trap finder, lockpicker, rogue. So that's not like the goal or the where any of the strengths will be.
Yeah, it's not going to be that moment where you're faced with a locked door and then everyone looks at Ever's character.
Yeah, they're going to be like, "What do you want me to do? Kick it?"
Cool. Yeah, locked door. Someone should really handle that.
That'll be more the beady uppy guy who beats up stuff.
Hey, if you
Probably,
guys don't want to have a true rogue and just your solution to the door problem is just knock it down, I'm okay with
Valid
that.
solution.
Charge!
I have done this, and I got a cool scythe out of it
You did.
in a different game. Just saying.
Check our YouTube
It is-
archives.
Yes.
It's valid.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Ever.
Okay, so I gotta preface
Sure,
this a little
Tyler.
bit.
One of Tyler has been playing tabletops forever, and therefore likes to make
Old.
he likes to make really interesting and convoluted, and sometimes people might say broken characters.
Well, let's give them total transparency. I only break wizards. I play
That's
wizards,
true.
I break wizards, I am the master of the arcane. Everyone here will start nodding, I'm sure. However, in this game I was challenged by one of our senior leadership to make a paladin. That's what happened. Holy warrior is not really a paladin, he's a holy warrior. So yeah, this is not going to be the same as what you're used to from me. It's going to be awesome though. So, I got to do some character background because part of the point of this character is race, what's that, who cares? And to a lesser extent, gender, what's that, who cares? For the way he looks at the world. At the age of 12, so we're all born into the various factions of the war priests of Corian, the Fang Monastery, the Thunderwolves. We're taught to not even notice that in our battle brothers as we grow up, as the other kids. So like I wouldn't point at that guy and go, that's an orc, that's a manticora. I would go, that's Patty and that's Steve. Yeah, Steve's furrier, what's your point? So what happens is, when you become age 12, you take the test of the Fang, which is the initiation into becoming a true battle brother. The aspirant begins by drinking a strange mixture from a sacred relic known as the Cup of Wolfen. The potency of the spirit wolf is imbibed into the student. The student is then dropped off 100 miles from the monastery into the mountains with nothing but the clothes on their back, not knowing where they were dropped off.
Sounds very Spartan.
The concoction will actually infect your mind, and it will challenge you spiritually and morally, both the spirit of the wolf and Corian, as well as you have to not die in the horrible mountain conditions getting back. If you come back alive and sane, you're a battle brother. If not, yeah, we tried. So, after you imbibe the potion, if you pass the test, you transform into a wolfen brother, and your race no longer matters. I don't know what I was before this, and we all look like wolfen brothers. Each faction's concoction changes you genetically. Us makes us very wolf-like. So, I have like the nose of a wolf and super hairy mutton chops that go all the way down to my mouth and very wolfish. When I activate any rage power or other powers I have, wolf eyes happen. My teeth, all 4 fangs, are very enlarged and noticeable. That's just what I look like. We might have skin tone variation, but if we survive the test, we all otherwise look like wolf brothers. It doesn't matter. So my race is servant of Corian. My gender is servant of Corian. However, mechanically speaking, I will be using the racial traits of a long-tooth shifter because it fits the concept. Which is not unique to Scarred Lands, it's unique to Eberron, but it's perfect for the idea I built with Patty.
Yes.
But if you ask him his heritage, he's going to say, I am what Corian has made me. I know not any other heritage. As for class, he will be a triple multi-class because I am Tyler. He'll be a cleric of the Forge domain, because Corian is the Avenger, the Champion, the Shining One, and the Forge Father. He hammered a Titan into an arrow and shot that shit in the sun, had someone else shoot it in the sun.
Yeah, I encourage you, all of our viewers, to please read some of the history that I didn't go into of Scarred Land. There's a lot of it, and it's all badass. Like Tyler said, one of the Titans was defeated by literally being shaped into an arrow and shot into the sun. And it's like, peace.
This world's dope, man.
Yes. Paladin, he'll be a Vengeance Paladin. And Path of the Zealot Barbarian. At creation, Barbarian and Cleric. And then we'll see how it stacks up, how much of what, I don't care yet. Like, I'm going to get each of the 3 classes to their subclass, and then after that, we'll see where we're at. That'll be halfway to level 10 by then.
Yep, and that'll probably be more of a however the adventure is shaping up and what changes what makes your character go down which specific path of worship for Corian.
And he does have specific goals that will affect prestige classes, which we'll get into at that stage.
Yes.
Backgrounds. His social background is Zealot.
Sure.
And his
No,
I don't think I need to explain why.
That doesn't sound right at all.
And his regional background is Canyoneer. Again, the fangs are in the Khaldun Mountains. It kind of makes sense, yes. As far as skills and languages and all that, I figure we can hold off on that till we do that for everybody.
Yeah.
That's me.
Perfect.
Okay. So, hi. Yes. So I'm wanting to kind of like also go to the whole like multi-classing thing. I was wanting to do a multi-class of a barbarian and rogue, just because, you know, going through the whole race of like Manticora, like they are warriors at their core. Like even if they try to move away from that, as some of the, you know, of the Manticora have, not all of them, but quite a few of them have tried to move away from that stereotype of like, okay, we are no longer, you know, the children of Ungal because, you know, dad kind of like left us to do whatever. We want to show that we're not just these violent, brutish things. My character's pack or pride, you know, lions, they're like a mixture between the two. They have their warriors. They're not warriors. My character comes from a family of warriors. Her dad specifically, I was thinking of like, you know, a warlord. So she has that warrior blood. Barbarian makes perfect sense. But having been exiled from her homeland, you know, from her pack and everything, I wanted the rogue aspect because there were some traits of like, okay, how's my character going to survive beyond, just fighting? Like, there's only so far you can get as being a mercenary. There's only so far you can get of just like beating the crap out of somebody for getting something, and going on this whole path of wanting to redeem herself. Even though it's still not the nicest thing to do, being a rogue to me felt it would fit the concept more accurately, because she is learning other ways on how to survive, not just, beating the crap out of somebody. It's being more stuck, using that sleight of hand to get what she needs, getting past certain locks, being more charismatic, even though she's really bad at it. A lot of the also perks or subclasses in the rogue, in Scarred Lands, showed things that they would have like proficiency in survival and a whole bunch of other things. And these were all the little things that really helped me want to decide to push my character in that direction of barbarian rogue multi-class. Definitely at character creation, first class will be barbarian because that is who she is at her core. I don't know if I'm gonna do straight, level 1 barbarian, level 1 rogue, or just like how it's going to evolve. But I think it would be kind of like a good idea to do one each, and then as my character grows, to keep growing, because there's a lot of really awesome subclasses for each one.
Yeah.
And I think one of the more like, not necessarily like the thief rogue subclass, but I think more like a scout or inquisitive mastermind.
I was looking into the scout because like they for sure have like a proficiency in survival and stealth, while the barbarian like subclass, they have like war words are hard. War shaman. There we go. As a thing, there's just like so much, and it's absolutely wonderful. Like I love the ideas, and then the backgrounds even add part of this too, because like I was thinking in terms of background, either a desert nomad, or what is the other one? A forester, are two really good options that fit the concept that I'm having. Desert nomad, they have like, they have that nomadic thing, and Manticora are by nature very nomadic race. They tend not to stay in one spot for very long. It fits into her nature also, for her like not really having a place of her own anymore, wandering the world, and then the whole forester thing, it plays into being very in tune with nature, being able to survive and not necessarily need to have other people there. You're taking care of yourself, you're learning from the earth, that kind of thing. So it's like a huge toss-up. There's just like so much in here, so much information. You can literally make the same character, but their backgrounds will be different, and that completely changes the game. That's I'm just like, so
either could be cool. Sure. Especially once we do session 1, and you all meet together, you and Ever's character definitely bond over being forest buddies. If you
because like not only that, but like the forest where Ever's character is not far from where my character is originally born. Like my character comes from the Haggard Hills, which is just outside of the Hawthorne, forest. So like even though they're not they're like local enough, kind of like people from like Central Florida, even though they're not exactly the same. They're like around about enough, that sort of thing.
I would also point out though that if you take the desert terrain, I doubt that's coming up for anyone else, and that could be useful when we ultimately get lost in the desert.
Right? There's a lot of desert. Well, there's one true desert in Scarred Lands, but there's a lot of desert-esque areas just because of the corruption of the Titans and all that good stuff. So that's true. If you want to do the desert route, if you want to do your desert nomad, but yeah, as you were saying, there's definitely arguments for both kind of backgrounds.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm really more leaning towards the desert nomad, like not gonna lie, just because it literally has the word nomad in it, and it fits a little more closer to the concept of like my character's race and all that. But there's good arguments really for both, and like good arguments for like the different subclasses for rogue. I mean, as much as my character is gonna be like with the sneaky bits, I definitely would like to be more of like the, oh, you need this broken? Okay, I'll break into there, because like my character had to learn how to survive, you know, aside of just like, you can't just beat the crap out of everyone. Like, you can, but sometimes it's easier not to.
That reminds me so much of like Book Conan, because you know, we all know Conan as the break everything guy, but Book Conan is very stealthy and like a thief in a lot of the books. So yeah.
Woohoo!
Alrighty. Next.
That's a me. So yes, once again, I am
Mario?
playing a. I am a Drindali ancestry, and I had everything I was going to say in my head. So, with his background specifically coming from, you know, this city this kingdom is part of an ongoing war, and being part of that fight for a decent chunk of his life, several years probably, I'm going to take the background militia.
Okay.
That's my social background. This allows me to kind of have that built-in aspect of being part of that organized sort of fighting force. It gives me... I'm going to actually take the skill proficiency, I don't know if we're doing that yet, but of investigation, which ties into one of his goals and what he's trying to do. So these are a skill that's kind of led him where he wants to get to. I get Veteran Network, which is kind of dope. I just want to say the backgrounds in Scarlands are awesome. So everyone just, like, we're actually not really pushing this book, but holy crap, this is so cool. Veteran Network, basically this mechanically gives me access to, like, people I served with in different areas. Other people in military units that I'm not actively hostile against will kind of, like, we can bond very quickly and stuff like that over just having the shared sort of militia or military experience.
Wars, am I right? Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. War. I was thinking that if both Ever and Tiffany took Forester, it would just be like, psh, trees, man.
Yeah, right?
Just...
So cool, right?
You ever see that one?
Like,
You ever seen some bark?
Ever see that one tree? Yeah. Crazy.
oh my god, like the way the leaves just like crinkle in the fall though.
Pine cones.
Branches.
Acorns.
Bark.
Roots.
Yes, exactly. So that. But yeah. So and then for my background, what's the word?
Regional.
Regional. Thank you. It's a tunnel dweller. Since Dire Drindle is underneath the Kender Mountains, next to Baruktorn, tunnel dweller. So comes from these very tight, dark tunnel systems.
Cool. And I don't think you really gave us a class yet.
Oh, that was the one I missed. Thank you. So yes, yeah, for my classes, I am also multi-classing because oh my god, everyone's multi-classing.
You get a multi-class. You get a multi-class. Multi-classes.
I am doing to start off with, since we're, like I said, at second level, I am doing first level fighter to again play off of that idea of being a military, fighting person. But then also coming back from fighting, getting more into the revolutionary ideas and getting more into the study and thoughts, and a certain other goal that he has that we haven't talked about. He's also going to take one level of wizard, so he is a fighting wizard.
Wizard.
Yeah. So,
Y'all should come back for future episodes. We have a fighter wizard in our party.
Fighting wizard.
Not every day you got one of those.
What'd you say about
Wizard.
Gandalf?
Oh.
I'm ripping off a different, very
completely
famous
different
fictional
rip-off,
character. So I would appreciate it if you got my theft correct.
Okay, I am sorry.
Who are you
Caress his
doing?
porcelain cheek.
I will tell you offline so it's not super obvious for those watching.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Totally original character. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So my character is a human paladin. Part of the reason why paladin is because of, holy war we've been fighting against the Titan spawn for so long. And after all the years, I've just become this old, haggard man that just doesn't like seeing it anymore. And for my background, I went into actually Sword Coast Adventure Guide and took a Knight of the Order, so I can be the Knight of the Order of Madriel, which is pretty much just saying that I am part of the Paladin Order for Madriel, and it gives me a nice little feature, which, just like all other Paladins would, staying at the temples. And for my regional feat, I chose Plainsfolk because since going to Durover, it's actually a very flat area between the two mountains, and it gives you a couple nice proficiencies, which I took Perception in order to better notice things about people that I might be trying to not kill, and crafting tool of Brewer Set, because lots of dwarves over there. Picked up a habit.
Okay.
Picked up a habit.
We got a microbrewer here. Excellent. Did you ever say what your race was going to be?
Human.
Okay. So we got ourselves a human. Yay!
Yeah, the least living, one of the least long living of the
I-
races.
I appreciate, since this is the first fantasy setting game in several years I've not played a human, I appreciate someone is carrying that torch for me. Thank you.
Well, somebody's got to be the short-lived race that basically is highly emotional and just determines whether or not life is worth living.
Got a human amongst a bunch of Vulcans.
Pretty much, yeah.
Perfect. And then you talk about your class being a paladin. Are you gonna branch out from there at all, or?
I might branch out. Depends on how the game progresses. If it does progress where we seem to basically be coming upon a lot more hurt people, I might go into cleric because
I'm not a healer.
Yes, that too. Because the whole entire point of this character is he does not want to see death anymore, and if laying down the sword, well, in this case the spear, is going to help keep people alive, then he's gonna start learning clerical ways.
Sure. Perfect.
Because, and we should point that out too, much like how Every's a rogue who doesn't pick locks, I'm a cleric who would never have healing spells prepared.
And I am a holy warrior that's trying not to kill things.
And I'm a fighter that can't fight and a wizard that can't cast.
I thought you were gonna say a wizard that can't whiz, and I was like, well.
You gotta see a doctor for that.
Yes.
And Tyler, don't say the line.
I wasn't going to say a line. I was going to say Steve and I's characters know each other as part of our backstory, and he knows full well. I got cut, cast healing magic on me. I'm like, here's some mud. Good luck, kid.
Perfect.
Having come from a underground generations war, yeah, that sounds about right.
Perfect. All right. Well, we've got a good little bit of background on all of our characters here. We've revealed all of our races, all our classes, all our backgrounds, all of our kind of histories leading up to where we'll encounter our characters on our first session. So I think it's a good break. We're going to mull over. Everyone needs to digest what we have expelled so far. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back at 10:50. And we'll continue from there on our character creations.
10:50 Eastern time.
Yes, Eastern time. Yes, for our, because we are worldwide, baby. So yeah, 10:50. We'll be right back. Eastern time. Welcome back, listeners, viewers, wonderful people around the world. We are in the middle of our character creation for Scarred Lands, an adventure, Dracogenesis, Titan's Lament. And that was off the top of my head, so really driving home that name. And we are in session 0, creating our characters. We had just gone over our classes, races, backgrounds, and the history of our characters up until this part. Up until when when we will be meeting them in our story. So we'll go over just a couple questions here to kind of freeform answer. We don't have to answer in the same order we've been. Just if you have an answer ready, go ahead and go, and we'll move from there. But so we'll start with one that I know Steve has kind of alluded to a couple times. We're going to finally get to. What are some long-term goals that your character is going to have? And we'll start with Steve. I want to pick on him because I like his long-term goals.
Oh, man. Okay. So, my character's ultimate long-term goal, the thing that he is working, everything that he does is working towards one end. And that is to kill as many gods as he can.
God-killing campaign.
God-killing campaign. And this is as a level 2 character. But it's not strictly the whole kind of like, let's go on a god-killing campaign. We had no talk of that whatsoever before this was put together. This was not...
Can confirm.
This is not made to be a god-killing campaign. It may never even come into play, because so much could happen with the character between now and level 1 billion. But like I mentioned, he comes from Diradrendel, and the disillusionment that comes from having a god king has kind of springboarded him to question the idea of gods at all. Now, obviously, in a world where titans and gods warred and it literally changed the land, and you can have definitive proof that the gods are there. There's no questioning about are they real or not? That's not what he's questioning. He's questioning the need for them at all, because if the Titans created the gods and then the gods scattered the Titans, and now gods are powered by mortals and their belief in them. That's where the entire gods' powers come from, is mortals' belief in them. Mortals, we are the actual true power in Skarn. And why do we need gods at all? While some gods may have good teachings, they ultimately are indifferent to us no matter what. Some gods are outright cruel and mean, and the only thing that they even want from us is our death, to honor them and glorify them. Gods never even stepped in to save us from Titans and all of the cruelty that the Titans gave onto mortals until one of their own was ravaged by a Titan. So the gods only stepped in to help us when it affected them. So he's not too thrilled with gods, and he wants to go out into the world.
No gods, no masters.
No gods, no masters. He is a Scarred Lands anarchist to the full. No gods, no masters. Yeah, and that's his goal.
He's trying to copy a specific character, but he's going to end up just being a raceling.
Very possible. Now, with that being said, there is one, that's his goal. So if that's all we're talking about right now, we can talk about that. But there's a caveat to that.
Let's hear it.
The caveat to that is, like I said, he's not by any means a zealot or a crazy person in this regard. That's a personal thing that he keeps close. He probably doesn't even tell that many people because it's such an outlandish, crazy concept. But everything he does is towards that end. So his goal is personal sort of acquisition of power and maybe a few allies towards it, so that, because he knows that challenging a god is next level stuff. You've got to transcend so many things to even begin to challenge that. So that's sort of his goal, is to find those steps and tools and keys and things like that, and gain that transcendences. He does not hold anyone's religion against them, because mortals who hold these gods close to them do so for reasons, and a lot of them benefit from it can find personal growth through it. You know, like, good is done with them, so he never is going to hold that against him. He doesn't, like, challenge anyone or, like, give it up now or you're done. Like, it's nothing like that. It's a personal thing he holds close, and he hopes to one day show that mortals actually do hold these divine powers within them, and that's what fuels the gods. So why don't we just spend that energy on ourselves, is kind of his thought.
Yeah, he's not gonna go and attack a fellow mortal just because they want to believe in the gods, because you're on the side of mortals. Like,
Exactly.
cool. I mean, like, if you want to be disillusioned, fine, but know that you're powerful, and I'm not going to attack you because you disagree with me. Just be willing to open your mind.
Exactly. Just kind of like that. So, like you said, his ultimate thing that he holds above all else is, in fact, like, mortal life. Because that seems to him at this point the true most powerful thing that there is, because it seems to run so many other things and generate the power for things. So that's what he actually holds dear to himself.
Okay, perfect. That was great. Appreciate those goals. Now I have a pop question for you.
Sure.
A character building question here.
Okay.
Now, if you could pick one of the core stats, strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, which would you say is the defining one for your character?
Oh. It's probably going to ultimately be intelligence, probably.
Okay, so intelligence. Now, how does that manifest itself into the physical appearance of your character? You know, or something about your character? Do you enjoy games of strategy? Do you like solving impossible puzzles? You can spot, people doing card tricks, things like that.
His number one thing in regard to how he uses his intelligence and how it manifests in the physical world is probably closest to the second thing you said, solving impossible puzzles. He's actually, I actually started to have an idea of him because he goes out, he obviously can fight and do all of these things, and he's going to have some martial aspects to him, but his goal is he's a searcher, he's a investigator trying to find things of power that will give him these next steps towards the goal that he's working for. So it's almost I don't want to say archaeologist or anything like that, but like puzzles, riddles. Where are these items, or how can I find something that's going to give me this advantage towards an impossible goal? So
I like it. All right. Who's next? Who wants to top up their long-term character goals next?
I'll go. Nobody jumped.
All right. I'm going to say, I'll give it about a 3 count, and I'm just going to pick on someone.
So,
Pick on someone.
becoming a battle brother is not the be-all, end-all for a Stormwolf. Gaining a deed name begins your saga. And your saga is the story of your life, your deeds, the things you've done to glorify Corian, not just in war, but also helping a war-ravaged village rebuild their houses, or spending a week in a soup kitchen, because caring for others is also a huge part of his tenets. I acquired my deed name by defeating a winter wolf called Silvermane in a story that might come up sometime. Because I have a deed name, the saga has begun, but barely begun. So I need to go out in the world and earn deeds, and sing my own saga and write my own bard's tale. Second most, I also someday want to visit the city of Mithril once I become worthy, and gain the great honor of forging a weapon from the statue of Corian made of Mithril there, and join the ranks of the Adamant Brotherhood, which is a prestige class, but also a holy order. The highest of the high for holy warriors of Corian.
Okay.
I also have a very specific thing that I try very hard to never do, which is a secret part of my past you know about, as far as motivations go. Never fall
I am very
prey
excited to see your
my bestial
character.
nature, yes.
Yes, I'm excited for that. I'm also very excited for your character to do the simple things on your saga. Like you said, the soup kitchen. I'm excited to see the 6'11", 350-pound, partially wolf man. Just here's your soup, here's your bread.
Rocking a small child to sleep, he'll do it. Maybe 6 of them at once.
Telling them a glorious war story, but like sing-songy and does like a kid's like nighttime story. And then we disemboweled the enemies of Corian.
Also hunting, but not just like hunting deer and stags. No, like hunting monsters, wild hunts. It's a big part of our, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not civilization. Our
Culture.
Culture. Thank you, of the Thunderwolves. Yes.
Awesome. Those are lots of goals and lots of ones that you should be able to hit. Some of those might be a little bit shorter than you think, as opposed to longer, but lots of good
and ultimately
goals
one day to die in battle gloriously for Corian, but probably post-campaign. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the ultimate sacrifice is needed at some point.
I'm going to answer that same question Steve did, or was that just for him?
So I'm actually going to ask you a different one because I want to. And I got this awesome book from my wife for Christmas that you can kind of see.
That's a good book.
It is.
The Ultimate RPG Character Backstory Guide.
Nice.
It's fantastic. There's some awesome questions. The first question I asked Steve came from here. This next question is going to also ask Tyler. So, most people think of adventurers as being larger-than-life heroes, but all heroes come from somewhere. I want you to explore the objects associated with the life you walked away from. So, you are still in your holy warrior phase, but you've left home. So, what are some comforts or things that you had to leave, physical objects and people that you had to leave behind on your adventure going forward?
Funny you mentioned that, because I put something in there just for you in my backstory about how, because I was the Wolf Lord's son, I had the height of luxury for the Storm Wolves. My room had a granite bed, furs from animals I had to kill myself, and only 2 windows letting in minus 20 below zero wind at night. The height of luxury, Patrick.
Yes.
Should have seen what the other guys had to deal with. So, anytime I walk into a tavern, I'm like, what is this thing? It's all squishy. Yeah, and like looking at the bed. These wooden chairs, they're so soft. That's definitely a thing. So instead of like, I wish I had that again, it's more like, how do people survive and not like just, I don't know, watch your muscles atrophy and die by 20. As far as what I left behind, my old pack, that's the biggest deal. My Stormwolf squad, which actually had its entire history, an entire series of events that happened prior to the adventure with them. Minus our leader, who unfortunately died gloriously in battle.
Okay. Good answers. I like it.
Unfortunately or fortunately?
Yeah, I'd say fortunately.
Unfortunately.
In that case, unfortunately.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you never want a holy warrior to die. I mean, that's what they're looking to do. That's their end goal. But you just want them to stay around as long as possible. All right, give me someone new.
I'll do it.
Okay. I was about to count to 3.
Okay, so, I mean, I don't really think I have anything that you haven't already heard. Essentially, my character is aiming to go out and cleanse themselves of a curse/corruption, but it'll end up being a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and mishaps. So there's what my character thinks is going to happen, then there's what's actually going to happen.
Yes, it's true. I guess your character's long-term goal technically would be find a cure for being cursed.
Yeah.
Cursed.
Yeah, pretty much.
But really, the long-term goal is to change the entire cultural structure of an entire race. So,
Yeah, pretty much.
potentially, or if you're just Or if your adventures more lead you to, hey, there's way more tolerant people out here. Bump those guys. They suck.
I actually like the first option a little better because it's like those people who are like, I don't want to be a leader, I don't want to make waves, and then they end up being the largest proponents of change. Components? Wow. Words.
Proponent.
Okay, cool. I got it right.
Yes, maybe. Whatever word grammatically works correctly there.
They do the awesome thing.
Okay.
Do I have a secret question?
We'll duplicate a question here. We'll give you the same question Steve had. So,
Guess.
if you had to pick one of the attributes, strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, what would be the most important for your character?
Oh, damn. All of the above? No. Gosh, that's a hard one between dex, con, and intelligence. Intelligence because that's a favorite of mine personally, but living in the Hornsaw, you get a really high constitution, and being a ranger, you kind of SOL if you don't have a high dex.
Can I give you which one I think?
Absolutely.
I actually would not pick any of the three you said. I would say wisdom.
What?
Your character is on a search for wisdom. Whether they know it yet or not, they are looking not for a specific fact, but more of the ability to approach and deal with and talk to people that are of different opinion culturally than you, and finding a way to help guide others to the same type of thinking as you, a more enlightened one, a more wise one.
In a much less important light, it's also a wildly important stat for rangers and rogues. It's how you power your spells. It's how you use perception and insight.
Oh, damn. Okay, that's cool. That did not even cross my mind.
Some of the kind of how that stat would hint at your potential. You are sought out to offer advice. You prevent conflict. You avoid a mass peril like a con artist or a stalker. You prevent conflict between rivals. You are the person that people will go to help them solve their problems and give them the key bit of advice they might need. I feel like that's really going to be... I can see your character evolving that way, as maybe that gets shoveled onto at first, but eventually you will very much be a leader, I think. And I think that will help you go back to your people. And, I have solved problems that affect the world in some way. Please allow me to share my wisdom.
Yeah, that's a really cool... I like that. I like that a lot. Flynn does not.
Aww.
Perfect. All right, cool. Got our goals. We got an important stat. Who's next?
Me.
All right.
So my character's goal is basically, one, save as many people as possible, and two, if somehow he sees a war going on, even if it's just a small war between two, factions, maybe to somehow bring about peace so that there's less death. Because, like I said, his goal is he never believes he's going to actually fully repent, but he wants to do as much as possible. And if he can stop two groups from fighting and dying, or maybe turn somebody from evil, then he wants to just prevent as much death as he can. That's his overall goal.
So
knows.
the step down from peace on earth, goodwill to men.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
What's my question?
So let's. What your question would be will kind of be based on. I'll ask some more questions. Growing up and going through your order as a paladin, did you have a mentor type character? Like how did you learn your oaths? Is it kind of like a like army style where there's just a bunch of you and you're all learning together, or more of like in a master apprentice kind of situation?
So for Corian, when I was a paladin of Corian, it was more of the army style learning. But once it turned into, I'm still sort of faithful to Corian, but now it's a Madriel is more the prime one that I follow now. That was more of a learn on my own as I go. When I went to Durover and saw all that there was, it was go to one of the temples and ask them for information, ask them for teaching, and they kind of helped out in my growth in learning about that religion. And at the same time, I also tried learning about more religions just so that I could try and see if there was some way I could bring peace between them in case there was any religious issues of fighting.
Okay. Well then, we're going to talk about maybe some lessons you learned then as you went through your trial and error in your army style of learning. So we'll go over two lessons you got. One would be during your training, you might have risked your life or put your life on the line for something, and you're rewarded for it. The lesson you learned: how close did you come to death or injury, and what was this reward you got, and what did you take into consideration when risking your life these days?
So previously, it would have been if I came close to death, I actually wouldn't have realized, because my character, when he was Paladin Corian, actually kind of enjoyed the bloodshed. It was his guilty pleasure. And if he came close, then that was just what happened. But after seeing so many people die, and when he joined Madriel, it became more along the lines of all life is precious. And if coming close might cause me to die, then that would be okay as long as it saved someone else.
Excellent. Alrighty. We got two people left.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
Alrighty.
So, my biggest long term is very long term. So it's not only to change the view of the Asathi as being redeemed, truly being redeemed, but to also make others understand that all of the redeemed are good people. But the main stake in all of that is she wants to go to the desert paradise to stop the disbelievers of the Asathi disbelievers that are moving away from their redeemed status and still going to what's the word? Like that are going back to words I cannot think of.
Fallen,
Going
Forsaken.
Fallen. Going back to the worship of Titans.
Yeah. They're going back to worshiping the Serpent Mother. So yeah, she wants to go there and put a definite stop. Yeah, the unredeemed, the unredeemed. She wants to go there and put a definite stop to that.
Okay.
That's long term.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask you a similar question to Tyler, because you said that your background is you made a mistake and you had to quickly leave your homeland. You're a bit on the run. So, what are some things you left behind? You had to pack up in a hurry. You had to leave. What are some things, whether they are physical objects or if they're people or a place that was special to you in your home? What are some things you had to leave behind? Things that might have given you comfort, or given you, fueled your passions, things like that.
Two things that I left behind. Two main things that I left behind. One was an iron bread that I was working under as an apprentice for my tinkering, if you will.
Okay.
I have not given him a name yet, but
It's okay.
But yeah, like he was a mentor in a way to me. One that was the first to take me in as not as what I looked like or what I was, but just as my skill. And the second was a love interest, if you may. Uta, a half-orc.
Ooh. Who was he? Was he?
He was just a laborer.
Occupation. Oh, okay.
He was just a laborer. In where I'm from, in can't remember if it's Fang's Fall or.
Yes.
Yeah, Fang's Fall. I remember if it was Fang's Fall or Fang's Sprawl. In Fang's Fall, it's actually a militaristic government.
Okay.
I think it's like totalitarian, actually, if I remember correctly. So a lot of people are, in militia and conscripted and all that, but there's a few of us that are just the normals.
One of those you'd walk by every day and you'd have a little different toy on the windowsill. And
yeah, like one day
there was long stolen glances.
One day it was a little robot. The next day it might have been just
a robot shaped like a half-orc.
Yeah, a little made of metal that just kind of went here. And then the next day it might have been a wooden iron bread that had like a spear launch hand.
Okay.
And that caught his eye. And we conversated over this.
Ooh. Did it ever evolve between just a crush and
given our
in the morning and at
lifestyles,
night?
it was never meant to be. Maybe.
Do you still hold a flame for this person?
Oh yes, obvious. Yes.
Okay.
That's how our first supervillain was born, folks.
The spurned lover.
Uta will always hold a flame in my heart.
Did you get a chance to explain to your? Oh.
No, I did not.
And does this person, would they know you well enough to know that you didn't actually cause this accident, or do they
I would
think
hope
that?
so.
Okay, so you're not sure. You're not sure what they think of what happened.
No, I'm not sure. I know that my.
Oh, this character is definitely making it.
I know that my quote unquote my guild master, my mentor. I'm sure that he would have taken my side.
Okay.
Working with me every day and seeing what I was doing. But Uta, there's.
Okay.
Again, no matter where you go, being an Asathi, there's always going to be that darkness hanging over you.
Of course.
You could be the best that you can, and then someone steals someone's water bottle, and you're walking by, and it's like, oh, they did it.
Okay. Excellent. Good. I got a very... Everett gave me daggers. Dwayne gave me a long sword to stab him with, so... Excellent. All right, Tiffany, you're last. But what have to say about last?
Yes. So I know I just keep repeating the whole like redemption thing. My character's long-term goal is just to find their way back home. You know,
so ultimately, your character would right now, as it stands, they would just want to be able to go back to the clan and for them to be welcome with open arms and for life to go back to the way it was before things happened.
Yes, like they kind of like know that's not gonna happen, but they have this huge hope, this like big fantasy in their head that there's a way to go back home, that there's a way to fix what they did. Me personally, for my long-term goal for my character, I would love for them not to be the same person by the end of the campaign as they were at the beginning. You know, I know like everyone has that like, oh, I want my character to grow. No, I literally want my person to be someone so different that you would like, you see that at the end that there's no way that person was the one all the way at the beginning. Like this person is so different. Like how? Like
you want them
that's
to get
what
Kafka metamorphosize.
Pretty much. Like I just want them to truly be different. Because like the way I have them kind of set up now, they're just very like indifferent to like anything. You know, they're just like, okay, well, what does that have to do with me? That has nothing to do with my goals, so I don't care. You know, I want this person to be at the end of like, okay, you need help, I got you. Like they truly will be able to embrace Madriel's teachings of redemption and mercy and being able to help others, not just themselves. You know, like to help someone is to help yourself. You know, that sort of thing. Not really expecting anything out of assisting someone else. Instead of like, okay, I'll help you, but like, what do I get out of it? Kind of mentality. I want them to be selfless.
Okay. Perfect. I'm gonna take a quick drink of water here. Okay. So I think all of us together have a good idea of how each character is. I think our audience has a great understanding of where these characters will be starting and where they're hoping to go on this adventure. The last little thing I'd like to do here with the time that we have is I'd like to do a thought experiment with all of you. You will all be taking on, I want you to kind of work together as a party, as your characters. This is not actually happening in the story, so anything that happens in this experiment will not affect the campaign or your sessions or your character. This is just kind of a way for us to do something together as a group. You're going to react to it as your characters would. So that way we can have an example situation and everyone can see how everyone's characters would react to the situation. And then I hope that this will give you guys a kind of good idea of how things might progress in either similar or other situations you guys will come across. So this is also coming from this great, amazing book. I thought it was a really awesome example of how to kind of bond everyone together over something. So the chat, go ahead. Right, yeah, so there won't be there's not any initiative, it's just gonna be the only thing you guys might have to do is I might ask you to roll a d6, but it's not based on your stats, it's not based on anything like that, so you don't have to have any numbers assigned to your stats. This is just purely very thought, and it's gonna be we're gonna think out loud today. All right. This exercise puts you in a tense situation where time is critical. But you guys can talk it out and don't worry. What are you willing to risk to discover the truth and aid a stranger? Choose your actions carefully, and we'll see how your choices affect you and your group. You are all traveling. You find a body in the road. It is beginning to grow dark, and this region is extremely dangerous at nightfall. So the first thing you guys need to do is identify and try to discover who this stranger might be. Now, you look at the body on the ground, and you're not very familiar with this region, but you believe that there are 3 people in a nearby town who might fit the description of this body right here. There is a small-time highwayman who is said to stalk these woods and ambush merchants on the way. An old watchman left a few days ago to hunt a highwayman in the woods. And a ranger who occasionally sells furs in town is said to hunt not far from here. So those are the 3 people this body might be. An old watchman. Yeah, yes. So you are your characters. You're not Steven or Tiffany or Tyler. You are your characters. So kind of think of this as you have stumbled across this body as your characters. You know it might be one of these 3 people. What would you like to do?
Pat them down.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to look through their stuff, and I may or may not pocket anything.
Check to see if they're alive.
Okay. So everyone. Okay. You check. The person is in fact dead.
I grab
Ready.
Ever's character. Look and see if there's a blood trail we can follow into the woods.
Okay.
I would, in fact, look and see for signs of struggle, for blood trail, for footprints, and for any foliage that may or may not be disturbed, maybe as disturbed or not as disturbed as I am.
Haha.
Okay.
See what you did there.
All right. Okay. So Devin's character.
Sherlock Holmes.
Devin's character searches for life. Tiffany's character is going to kind of pat him down, rifle through belongings. Ever's character, on the advice of Tyler's character, is going to look for whoever attacked this person, if they might have left a trail where they were going. Steve's character is going to kind of examine the scene and see if they can piece together what might have happened. Dwayne, does your character do anything?
Oh, I was going to pat him down as well.
Okay, so you and Tiffany's character will be able to work together to do that. So either one of you, it doesn't matter who, one of you roll a d6.
Go ahead, Tiff.
Okay. Thank you. Boop. D6.
Mm-hmm.
Boop. I got a 5.
5. All right, so as you search, the first thing you would see is the body itself. And this would take about 15 minutes to kind of do this first part. To kind of identify which one of these 3 people. You know that the highwayman was shot with more than 1 arrow over the years and would have scars in their chest. And, you kind of take off their robes and their undergarment and their like whatever mail or armor they've been wearing. You peel that off. That's what takes so long, and you're able to confirm that those scars are there. Doesn't necessarily confirm it's the highwayman, but the scars do match the wounds that person would have had.
All right. I share this information with the party.
Okay.
While they're taking that off, would I be able to just double check and confirm this and see if I could figure out how they died?
Sure. You just when they say that, that's not what killed them, but that you do see those scars there from previous wounds. So you can check the cause of death if you'd like. Ever, as your character looks around, there's not really a clear path. where the person. There's not a blood trail. It looks like this was a clean kill, and the person or thing that caused this death did not leave a discernible trail of where it went. So it looks like this might have been something that was either ranged and then they removed the evidence of that ranged attack and were able to cover their trails as well, or somebody who got close to perform the deed and then was careful enough not to leave a trail away. So not sure if that was just a very sneaky predatory animal or Titan spawn or something like that, or if it was a person. But it does look professional, and this is not like somebody's first kill or something like that.
Oh.
Well, I think we can rule out predatory animal because wouldn't they prey on the body?
Essentially, it could. There are some predatory animals that just kill for fun. They don't necessarily kill for food.
Cats.
Valid.
Territory protection, things like that.
Yeah. So with Ever's character, Steve, your character kind of they inform you of that, and you kind of can piece together, and you think it's more of the something got close, killed it, and then left without leaving a trail.
And this is a road we're on, right?
Yes. So it would be a well-traveled road. It is a somewhat well-traveled road.
So,
Go ahead.
So, possible highwayman. As we move along the road, someone got close to him. Or did he get close to somebody else? I look at the body. Does it look like he fell at all? Maybe like he came upon a wagon, maybe tried to get up into the wagon and they stabbed him? Like, does he look like there was a fall or a position of the body at all?
1 second. Let's see. Let me reread this real quick. No, it does not look like there was a fall at all. The body seems to have crumpled naturally.
However, it does not appear as though he fell at all, so he was both feet on the ground when he died. Interesting.
The people searching the body, how much time do you want to spend after you reveal that the scars are there? How much time do you want to spend like kind of digging through his possessions?
10-15 minutes.
Yeah, until we find something.
Yeah.
And while they're, like I said, digging through their possessions, I will be checking the body for like current wounds.
Also, when they're done, perhaps with Devin's character's help, I would actually cast a ceremony and do a funeral rite for the body.
Oh,
Not necessarily Corian, but just a generic funeral rite as the spell.
that works. I was planning on taking the body back to town for doing that.
Okay, well, which would you like to do? Would you like to take it back to town, or you want to bury it here?
If he's going to do the rites, then bury it here.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Cool. So you search through possessions, and you find a pouch, a neat roll of parchment stained with blood, and a copper shield in the man's chest pocket, as well as a holy symbol. Now, would you like to look at any of these items closer?
I would probably hand the holy shield over to Tyler's character.
Yeah, I think Tyler's character would know that better. That or Devin's.
Yeah.
Definitely want to look at the bloody parchment.
Okay. So you read the parchment. Also, as you were looking at the body, Devin, your character notices that there, amongst the scars from the arrows that you were, or the scars in the chest, you do notice that there's a fresher wound there. That looks to be the killing blow. You also notice a tattoo running up the arm.
What's the wound appear to be from? Can I determine that?
It takes some time, about 20 minutes or so. But it could have been made with a unique or unusual weapon, something that was designed to throw off an investigation like this. Or it could be a strange animal's appendage, you're not sure. But whatever did this blow was extremely strong, and it was likely a very quick death. So just like it was just an immediate stab, and this man died almost instantaneously.
At least he died quickly. Doesn't look like he spent a lot of time in pain.
Tiffany, your character reads the parchment. To the stranger who may find me, I have failed in my quest. I cannot claim that I was a noble soul, but I seek judgment only from my God. Please take a coin from my pouch to place under my tongue. 2 coins to return to my, and some blood obscures that next part, and the rest as payment for your trouble.
Okay. I also relay this information to the rest of the party. And how many coins were left behind?
Sure. You look in the pouch, which is very easy to look from there. There is 1 gold, 2 silver, and 10 copper.
Okay. My character goes through the internal drama of take money or help this man be with their god.
Okay, so you have the parchment in the pouch. No one else, unless you tell them what was on the parchment, no one else knows it's on the parchment. We'll let you have this internal struggle. We'll let Tiffany actually decide what your character will do here. Tyler, you look at the holy symbol that they give you. You recognize the symbol belonging to a thieves' church. They worship a god of fortune. It is said their god hates fire, loves any who speak with gold, judges a tongue of silver, and ignores the sound of copper.
Ignores what?
The sound of copper.
Copper, okay.
So, can you read those 3 again?
Yeah. The god hates fire, loves any who speaks with gold, judges a tongue of silver, and ignores the sound of copper.
Okay. So you put the gold in his mouth for him to reach his appropriate afterlife.
Which I would do as part of the ceremony.
Now the question is, does my character relay that information and actually help him reach his god?
It's true.
So that's what they get from the holy symbol. They don't know that you would have the pouch kind of full of coins, because it's not an obvious like coin purse, just a pouch. They also don't know that he kind of left instructions for his death here. But you would, so basically at this point, Tyler's character or Steve's character would either be reaching into their own coin purse to, fulfill this man's wishes, or at least the wishes of the god he carried a holy symbol of.
If they had mentioned it to me, and if Tiffany's character didn't mention it, the coin purse, then I would be the one that would reach into my own pouch to put the gold coin in.
I read
Tiffany's character, moment of truth.
I read everything, but I neglect to mention all of the coins. That, I talk about all the coins, and I don't say the remainder is for payment.
Okay.
So I take just enough for myself, and I'll leave the rest. I'm kind of helping.
So basically, you would leave 3 coins in, and you would take the rest of the coins. Which coins are you going to keep? I'm assuming the most high value ones.
I'm gonna take you said 1 gold?
Yeah, 1 gold, 2 silver, and 10 copper.
Okay, I'm gonna leave the 2 silver. I take everything else for myself.
Okay. So Tiffany's character kind of just has kind of turned her back. You can see she was reading something, and you take out the coins, you put them in your pocket before you turn back around. And you go, oh, he had this in his pocket, and you hand over the parchment. And you hand over the coins that would, I guess you wouldn't hand over the parchment. So you read out the parchment and just say, here's what he wrote on here. And then you kind of fold it up and put it in your pocket.
And then we all have that awkward moment where we're all reaching for our wallets to pay the bill. And it's just like, oh.
So you take the 2 coins that were in the pouch, and you can do. There's 2 silver. You can do whatever you want with those.
Yeah, I suggest, hey, he wanted, a coin under his tongue for his god, right? So silver's good, right? Silver
No,
tongue.
we'll use gold.
That's a
You
saying?
have gold, yes, Devin's character. That's how I would react.
Okay.
Yes.
What did he say in the parchment about the 2 silver, though? I know it was cut off.
So it says, please take a coin from my pouch to place under my tongue. 2 coins to return to my, not sure what it says, and the rest is payment for your trouble. So he does not denote the values of the coins.
I do merely wish to point out, of course, that the gold buys him automatic pass in the afterlife. Silver brings him judged before his god. Make sure it's gold beneath his tongue. Let's not leave this in the hands of whatever deity he believed in.
Character would look at you and say, I just said that.
You asked him for gold. I'm just clarifying.
My character would also note how many coins are in that pouch.
There was only 2 silver. Maybe he was robbed for his money. That's why he was killed. Shifty eyes.
He must have been robbed
Potentially.
because if he had 1 for himself and 2 for someone, there should have been 3 minimum.
Must have been robbed.
That's right, Ben Affleck.
He's been on this road for who knows how long.
I mean, anything could happen. Maybe an animal took some. Birds like to take shiny things. I don't know. He's got 2 silver coins, so at least that helps take him home, right?
No, we'll give him a proper burial. You want us to go cheap when you die, and I throw the 2 coins that are left or in their little bag to Steve's character. Like, hold that. And then I begin the ceremony.
What is the badge?
Yeah, it was a copper shield. And you take some time to look at it. The copper shield is a discontinued symbol denoting rank in the watch. It was discontinued because the simple design was too easy to counterfeit. So you're still not quite sure who this person was. You found some scars on the chest that match the description of a highwayman. The letter didn't really reveal much except, kind of worship of a god of thieves. But they were carrying a copper shield denoting rank in the watch, but that was also it was discontinued because it was easy to counterfeit. So
And it couldn't counterfeit.
yes, so you're not quite sure who this person was, but it seems you are all, besides that, taking the time to give this person a proper burial in one of their religion, not just a burial.
You said that it was late, right? And this area is dangerous at night.
Yeah, so at this point, with what you've all done so far and where the ceremony is starting, the sun is about to dip below the horizon.
Okay. Then
It's not one of those things where like the sun goes down and then you just die.
Of course.
But it is one of those situations where it kind of gets progressively more dangerous the longer you're out in the dark.
Speaking, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, can I tell about when they died, since I deal with dead things?
Sure, absolutely. You would be able to determine that it looks like they might have died probably about an hour before you found them. So not very long. The body's still a little warm.
I'd also like to point out we skipped over Steve's mental recreation at CIS moment.
That's true. Basically, his character would have been able to determine that some thing got close, stabbed in the chest, body fell naturally and suddenly from dying almost immediately, and then that thing left without leaving a trace, or at least a discernible one.
stabbed in the front, of course, indicates that he would have or should have seen whatever was coming at him. So something either approached incredibly quickly, or he knew his assailant, or he just was not very good at looking at things in front of him.
And you do see that there's no like defensive wounds or signs of struggle, so that does further support your theory of either it was somebody or something he knew, or was not immediately afraid of, or he did not see it coming.
Very interesting. I'll kind of like pass over the bodies a little bit and kind of just, as they're getting ready for the ceremony, it's like, I hope this piece finds you where you're looking to go. Enjoy where you are. But I will not take place in the ceremony itself. I'm going to set up and actually stand as like guard.
Okay.
So I don't want to do like the kind of specific ceremony thing, but we'll wish him good luck in whatever it is he wants in his death.
Okay. As you're moving the body and preparing it and preparing the grave and the ceremony, Devin, as the experienced field medic, and Dwayne, your character with the keen eye, would notice once again the tattoo that winds up the arm is filled with strange symbols and lines with unique runes and letters from various languages. And Devin, your character would notice that 4 fingers are missing from the person's left hand, but that was done. What looks like they are missing, but they are completely healed over. So this is not something recent or done to the body.
Pre-mortem.
Yes, like way pre-mortem. Like there's old scars. Although they have grown pale, the scars make you wince. The implement responsible for this must have been sharp and regular, since the cut is clean.
He must have gotten caught for something.
I'm caught stealing.
If you want to take some time, you can kind of put your heads together. And this would be able to work while Tyler's character is getting the ceremony ready, getting the correct incenses, digging the grave, preparing the right verbiage. The Thieves Guild punishes ex-members by removing fingers from their left hands. This is to prevent ex-thieves from using their skills outside the guild. It also signals to other thieves the former member's status. A person missing a single finger was simply someone who might have retired early. A person missing 4 likely betrayed the guild to the law.
A man on the path of redemption.
I feel like my character would be aware of that.
Probably.
Right?
You would definitely be able to help them figure that out.
All right. Well, my character would share that information about the fingers. So it does seem kind of important. So, he's missing some fingers on his left hand. They're symbolic of his rank in the guild. This guy did a big no-no, put his hand in the wrong person's pocket. If anything, it was probably the person who killed them. Revenge and all that.
Okay.
Could explain how he was killed, seemingly unaware. Thieves
Correct.
know how to strike without warning.
Tyler is able to finish the ceremony uninterrupted. Perform the last rites. The last shovel of dirt is placed on top of the grave. And ever your character you prick up, you can hear close by something predatory is approaching, and you're able to give enough notice for all of you to get out. You would be able to leave this area before being hunted. The last thing, I know, Tiffany, you said your character would have hold on to the parchment and the some of the coins that were in the pouch, and then Tyler's character threw the pouch at Steve's character. What would you have done with the rest of the possessions? The holy symbol, the shield, the holy symbol and the shield.
Pass the shield off to Devin's character since I'm the one that has it, and trust him to make the wise choice to return it or make use of it.
I would return it when we get back to town to either A, if we determined who that person was that he said to give coins to, or B, just to the Thieves Guild again, because it is their property by baseline.
And what do you do with the shield?
By the fact of they were the ones who put their symbol on it, I will claim that it is theirs.
What was the other item?
The shield.
Shield,
yeah,
the
that's
watch
the one I'm
shield.
talking about.
The watch shield. Probably would have turned that into the watch.
Well, the shield's the one I had. So what was the other item?
The holy symbol.
Okay, I didn't have that. I just had the shield, which is what I gave to Devin.
Okay.
I don't know who had the holy symbol.
Okay, so we'll say that you. It sounds like both those items you're going to try to turn them back into the church and the watch. Okay, so you're able to make your way back to town, and sounds like your character's going to return those items. Do you tell anyone about the body you found? And if so, whom would you tell?
Well, as I return the items, I would inform them, the holy symbol and the shield. I would inform them that I found the body, or we found this body, and sadly, he had already passed.
I would inform who. Sorry, go.
I would explain to them the method that we found that he died, and the coins that we have. I would see about if we could get them to whomever, if they would be able to determine the kin.
So if Devin is informing the guild when he's returning the shield, I will inform whoever the local law enforcer is that the crime was committed on their road.
Both parties seem equally interested in this body, so sounds like you're still not sure who this person was, if they were good or bad, but seems that your characters work together to at least give them the proper funeral rites so they might not suffer a horrible afterlife. And that's we'll go ahead and end our character creation with that. You guys can kind of think about how your characters reacted there. I hope you guys enjoyed that little thought experiment. I thought it was a cool one when I was reading it in this book.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
I gotta get better at lying.
or stay just that
And
level
math.
of lying.
Lying and math.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think we
just
have
need
a really
to give less detail.
I think we have a really strong idea of everyone's characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's still we didn't have time to go over every single question in our character creation doc. That will still be up to you guys, and some of them I didn't ask because I think some of it's important to keep secret from our audience, and that will be some great plot points and reveals, and as I like to say, soap opera moments to have later on.
So we're not mentioning my evil twin brother.
Your evil twin brother, that you were originally that brother, but you swapped brains because a brain necromancer did some shenanigans of some sort.
Right.
I'm taking Patty's words literally. You swapped brains with butter. Evil twin butter.
Yes, evil twin butter.
Yes. Perfect. All right. Well, let's leave our adventurers as they contemplate their next steps and how they will continue to navigate the perilous world of Skarn. You have to wait until next week to see what happens in their first ever session. It's been a pleasure telling you the story, listener. We hope you enjoyed what you saw and heard as much as we enjoyed performing it for you. Let's hear from our players now. Once again, your name, handle, and if you have a character name, please reveal it now and where people can find you outside of Book This.
I am Dwayne. You guys can find me on the internet at Made of Kimchi, and today I played Susa. The next time you will see me is next Tuesday for Contagion.
Hey everybody, I have been ever figuring out my life and doing the things with all these awesome people. You can find me all over the internet as Changeling Ever. Dying. I'm
Good?
okay. Yeah, my throat decided to stop working.
So is that how'd you spell that? Is that ahem, or is that k? Like, how would you spell that?
I think it's more
If
like...
I'm searching for your username.
I think it's more like hem.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, like you gotta when you say it.
Okay.
Said,
Yeah, it's good.
Chaim.
Oh, yeah, it comes from throat.
Yeah, exactly. You can find me on Sunday evening playing with some of these awesome peeps, and the rest of you, not so awesome. I'm just kidding. I love you all. Yeah, Sunday night, Call of Cthulhu.
I am Tyler, Eldritch Echoes Online, and I have been creating Lament Silvermane. And you'll find me next running The Lurking Silence on Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Come check it out.
All right. Hi, I'm Tiffany, also known as Pinky_88 on the Twitters. And the next game you will see me will be on Wednesday on Infinity with Space Lord Pajamas. And it's going awesome. You should come check it out on this awesome Purpley channel on this awesome Purpley times at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Okay, I'm done.
Hello, everybody. I have been Steve, creating the Drindali elf, whose name we never actually said. Do I save it?
So I'm saying, yes, yeah, if you have a name, reveal it now.
Reveal it now?
Yes.
Lamalthun.
Ooh. That's a mouthful.
Yes, Lamalthun the Drindali. I have been Steve. You can find me on the internet at Voodoo Arcade, and you'll find me next on Verbal Tales this Sunday playing Call of Cthulhu.
And I have been inhabiting the body of Devin, playing the character Gar, the human Paladin. And next time you can see me will be on Tuesday for No Time for Reality.
Perfect. Ever, did you reveal your character name?
I did not, but
Do you have it, or would you like to wait?
I do actually have it. They're going to start out with a female elf name, and then eventually find their own name. But it is Yenei. It's Yenei.
And then Tiffany, did you reveal your character name?
I don't have one yet. I'm
Okay,
actually still
not a problem.
struggling to find the perfect fit.
If you don't have a character name yet, it's totally fine.
I'll
Alrighty.
have it by next Friday, I promise.
All right, perfect. Thank you. I have been Patty6_. It'll be another week before you'll be able to find out what happens to our lovable rapscallions. But in the meantime, I encourage you, please watch Vorpal Tales' other shows, which include on Sunday, Tales of Terror and Damnation, The Lurking Silence. Also in the morning, you'll find Bacon and Zombies with Space Lord Pajamas and J3 Billion.
Bacon and Conan.
Oh, Bacon and Conan, where they'll be streaming the Conan video game. Monday is our Cyberpunk game, In the Image of Man Made, where we have our guest stars, Dixie Cyanide and Michelle Light, right? I nailed that one. Got it. Tuesdays.
They're not guest stars no more.
That's true.
They're
That's true.
just Snicker snacks now.
That's true. On Tuesdays, our Contagion Chronicle, No Time for Reality. Wednesdays, our new series that started last week, The Infinity, Outer Worlds, Inner Demons.
With Harry and TJ, new people to come check out that are awesome too.
Thursdays, our very
Oh
own
my
Meta
God.
Kimchi does his
So-
Kimchi's Grimdark Chronicles, where he'll be starting Grim Hollow.
This is correct.
And then exactly 1 week from now, more Scarred Lands, more Dracogenesis, Titan's Lament. All right. We won't do a voting this time. This is normally where we would do it, but we don't really have characters yet to vote on. And everyone did such a great job of character creation that I will give you all one free advantage next time we play, because you all did so wonderfully. So mark that off somewhere on your character sheet. But yes, we hope you enjoyed our character creation tonight. We look forward to seeing you next week, where we'll actually roll some dice and confront some situations and role play a little bit at the same time and place. So until next time, may Corian light your way. May you stay safe. May you stay awesome. May you stay adventurous. And may you make good choices. Happy New Year, Snicker Snacks.